Hi folks, I'm Father Joe Grimaldi. You can call me Joe, and I'd like to welcome you to my podcast. But now, here's our host and friend, Ken Calvert.
Hi everybody, I'm Ken Calvert alongside Father Joe Grimaldi, and we would like to welcome you to the Father Joe Grimaldi podcast. The Father Joe Grimaldi podcast is being supported by our great friends at Houghton McInerney Star Lincoln 12 Mile and Telegraph in Southfield. The family, along with the entire staff, once again want to thank you. They've been serving our community for over 50 years with another 50 to come. That's why so many of their customers come back, second time, third time. Guys like me on their fourth Star Lincoln SUV. Star would like to thank you for one of their best months ever. And it's easy because they've got a great lineup of sedans and SUVs, and you have to stop by, say hi, have a cup of coffee, and take a look at that 2020 Lincoln Aviator. If you're not blown away, friends, I can't help you. Star Lincoln 12 Mile and Telegraph. You can shop online at starlincoln.com. Highly recommend you do that. Houghton McInerney Star Lincoln, 12 Mile Road and Telegraph in Southfield, the home of the Father Joe Grimaldi Star Treatment. Now, wait a minute. You just told me something, and I'm going to stop. We have something else we're going to talk about here in just a moment. You're telling me that tonight, your parish, St. Hugo of the Hills.
Correct.
And your pastor over there, shall we identify him?
You already have.
Well, okay. Your pastor over there, what can I say, Monsignor Tocco?
Sure,
all right.
of course.
Your pastor over there, Monsignor Tocco, is throwing a little blow-ita for the boys, huh?
Well, he's
little get-together, huh?
When you think of the generosity involved, he invites all priests in the whole diocese or the archdiocese of Detroit. And so we get about between 100 and 150 priests showing up for this.
Uh-huh.
And it's a full dinner. He's amazing. He does a wonderful thing with hors d'oeuvres and dinner and so on and so forth. And, you know, his purpose is camaraderie.
Yeah.
Trying to foster the community of priests, trying to foster the unity of the priesthood.
I like
and
this.
So on and so forth. So he really has very good intentions, and he's well respected for it, I think.
Well, I would think so.
And to think it's the whole archdiocese that he invites.
Well, the big guy, you know who I'm talking about.
He sometimes comes. If he can, he will, I'm sure.
Oh, I hope he does. I'm talking about Archbishop Vigneron.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I hope he comes.
I'm not sure if he's coming tonight, but he's...
Well, I hope he does, so for my sake.
He does come often.
Selfishly, I want to know what kind of a guy, when you get him...
He's a good guy.
I know he's a good guy, but when you get him, like, with a group, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
A couple of jokes going around.
Of course.
Hey, Biggie's got one. You want to hear it? Come here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't break any rules with that. But, it's good for you guys to all get together and, sure, a little serious discussion, but a little lighthearted discussion.
Yeah, it fosters camaraderie, basically.
Yeah.
What happens is this. When you consider the life of a priest, it could become a lonely life.
I would
if
think
you're
so.
Not careful,
I would definitely think that.
The camaraderie is always important, that there are other people that you can count on for support.
Uh-huh.
And this is a good place for networking, knowing people, as you say, having a few laughs together, enjoying each other's company, reminiscing a little bit about the old days and looking forward to the new days. And so there's a lot of good things that come of it. And it's a great event, even though it's not one of the major events.
I don't know. It doesn't matter to me.
But by the same token,
I love a good party.
One. It's a good one.
I love a good party.
It
now,
is.
let's take the younger guys, the younger fellas. Do they kind of stick together?
Well, I think, the whole idea, there's so many people in that one room that it's hard to stick together with one particular group. So you're there. You're going to see your friends, that's for sure, but then other people are going to come and talk, and you talk to them as well. So there is a good mix. I'm
not clear on this year. I haven't followed it close enough. Have the ordinations taken place yet this year?
They do it periodically.
Oh, okay.
So
it's not an end of season thing like we do with the colleges,
No.
Okay. Seemed to me last year it was in late spring that they ordained. I believe a couple of priests and maybe a deacon.
Yes, there's always that case. Yeah,
well, now if you had a young priest with you at your parish for a while, Father Amore, who has now got his own parish, right?
We still have a young priest, though.
Well, but now you have another young
another
priest.
One, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's got to be an exciting night for the younger
Father
fellas.
Dominic, yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. That's great.
Sure.
And a cocktail or two, maybe?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. And so what sort of food is it catered? I'm curious. I'm just interested in this.
No, Tony likes to do a lot of cooking, and so what happens is...
No kidding.
Yeah, he doesn't do the whole meal, but he does parts of it, and other parts of it are brought in by other people, but and some of it is catered as well, because it's too big a group to just neglect, yeah.
Now, but with your Italian cooking skills, does he, and the two of you get together, I mean, boy, I think there'd have to be some separation there, because you'd start calling out more basil, and he may say back off.
Oh, no, you need oregano there.
A little oregano. Back off, Grimaldi, back off, all right?
Nah, he's pretty good about stuff like that.
Is he a pretty good cook, yeah?
Oh, excellent cook.
Is
Excellent, yes.
Really?
He considers himself a chef. And, of course, he has a good Italian associate right now, the young priest that just came in, Father Dominic, and I'm sure he gets his help as well.
Well, isn't Monsignor Tocco Italian?
That's what I mean.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah. Well, boy, you guys like to stick together, don't you?
I know.
Better go back to the past
all
podcast.
in one house.
Yeah, boy. You know what? I'm salivating right now.
I'm sure the food will be good.
Boy, I want to stay on this topic all of a sudden. Final question about this. So, it'll go for a couple of hours, yeah?
Sure.
And what's the demographic? 28 to 85?
Oh, a lot older than 85, because there's some old-timers who are 90-something.
Oh, I bet they're a gas to be with.
But usually what happens is this. There's Father Tony, as we call him, Monsignor, invites even those people who have left the priesthood but are in good standing in their own right. And
good for
they
him.
come, and they're part of the group as well. So, and some of those are pretty up there in years,
Some of the guys pretty funny. Some guys... are they joke tellers?
Well, part of humanity is, I mean, when you're part of that human group, you're going to have those who are funny, those who are not, and so on. You have a variety of people, and I think that's true of priesthood as well. Sure. You're going to have those who are funny, those who... The academics,
yeah.
And so a little bit of everything.
So, and you will have a mixture of, you'll have some Jesuits, and you'll have some Dominicans, and...
I think it's just diocesan priests.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I just thought I'd ask.
Well, the religious orders have their own thing.
All right. Final question, and then we can move on to a topic at hand.
Okay.
Do you wear your clericals or not?
Oh, no.
Okay. All right.
It's summertime.
Okay. All right.
Matter of fact, what will happen, too, some of the parishioners will be doing some of the grilling.
Oh.
Because there'll be several grills going on.
Oh, the flies on the wall.
That's right.
Why didn't you mention my name as a potential grillster?
Well, why don't you, if you're interested, we'll put you in for next year.
Would you mind?
No, I wouldn't.
You know what? I'd like to be the bartender.
Oh, well, you could do that, too. They always have
I was a bartender. I'd make a great bartender.
I'm sure you would.
Yeah. How do you like that, Father?
Yeah. I think you do a good job.
Yeah, just wave the vermouth over. Don't worry, I got it done. All righty. Hey, I saw something here that I thought you might find interesting.
Is that right? Like what?
Yes, I did. Well, we're coming up on the feast day of Blessed Solanus Casey.
Correct.
It's July 30th, but starting next week, on the 22nd, there will be a series of masses and devotions that'll be prayed at the Solanus Center on Mount Elliott in Detroit. Each day, a novena will be prayed with a different intention, celebrating aspects of Brother Solanus's life and ministry. You were a fan, yes?
Very much so.
Wonderful guy.
Yeah, the Capuchins are a very great group in my mind.
Absolutely, aren't they?
And so I've known them in New York. I've known them in Hawaii, because Hawaii we have quite a few. The ones that come to Hawaii are originally from New York, who end up going to Guam, but then from Guam they come to Hawaii.
The situation right now, and I think if it isn't top of the news, it's going to be soon. The number of homeless in this country right now is staggering. It's out of control on the West Coast. It's not just blocks in Los Angeles. It's miles and miles of homeless. It's to the point now where on Facebook, Twitter, any one of the social sites that you go to, people are encouraging people, if they can, to put together packages for these people at night. Here, of course, you've got days like today, brutally hot, triple-digit feelings with the humidity, people helping people. Solanus Casey, the blessed Solanus Casey, that was his mission, that is their mission.
Mm-hmm.
But now more than ever, I don't know why, the homeless seem to be at epidemic numbers, and they cannot possibly keep up. So that's something that we have to address.
The church is very much addressing it. As a matter of fact, there are plans presently to build an apartment building to take care of people who are homeless so they could become rehabilitated and then move on into society again. Yeah. Right now, they have to go to the homeless shelter or the homeless center in Detroit so that they could get a meal, or they could go to the Capuchin Center and also where they could get a meal and a place to shower. And so there are things being done regularly. On the local level, the various parishes, they usually have a full week where they bring homeless people into the parish. They house them, feed them 3 meals a day or 2, because 1 in the morning, then there's a bus that will take them to where they're going for the day, but then picks them up to have dinner and stay the night at St. Hugo's, for example. And so that's happening, I believe it's just this week even. So, and it happens in different parishes.
At different times.
At different times. Uh-huh. So there's always a place that's doing this.
Yeah.
I think the church has, one thing is for sure, it has never really neglected the homeless. I spent many, many years in Hawaii, as you probably know, and the homeless abound in Hawaii. There's a reason for it, I think. One of the reasons is this. The weather is very conducive to people living outside. And also there's a whole area where people can sleep underneath an awning. 4th Street Mall is the place I'm thinking about in Hawaii. And you see the homeless sleeping there at night, as they say, because of the awnings over the storefronts and so on. However, the church feeds them sandwiches and drinks, also allows them to use the lavatories and place where they could go and clean up. So they're doing a lot of that kind of thing. I realize what you said at the beginning, that, and I'm not too familiar with it, San Francisco, I know, has always had an overabundance of homeless.
They do.
And so what they're doing with them, I don't know right now. I think that wherever you go, the church is very much involved. That's one of the things that has always become a priority within the church.
Well, we're getting back to, Blessed Solanus Casey and the
Yes.
fact that his feast day is coming up on the 30th. And thank God for him and thank God for their mission, because they are at the forefront in the Motor City in
Correct.
Detroit. They've just done a wonderful job, not only feeding and housing, but redirecting, re-educating, and total support from top to bottom. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that they do. I find his story compelling. He was basically relegated to being a door greeter, if memory serves.
Correct, yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about Father Blessed Solanus Casey.
What they used to do with people who, let's say, were limited in ability to do sacred theology, and they would ordain them as what we call sacramental priests. And so they could just do Mass and maybe do some confessions. But outside of that, they would not be involved in administration. They would not be involved in being pastors. And I think he may fall into that category.
How is it that he became such a beacon for people? What was it about Solanus Casey that made people, there was just something that drew people to him, that made him so incredibly special, to the point where he became, obviously, miraculous while he was alive?
Definitely.
To this day, people make pilgrimages to the center. At the grave, you see thousands of notes on top.
One of the things I want to say is this, that you have to be a believer, first of all, to understand And the reason I say that, because it's personal holiness that draws people to the individual. And he had a great deal of personal holiness. He had the intelligence, the charismatic intelligence, if you want, that allowed people to speak with him and be open to him. There were people that would come to the vestibule of the monastery there, and they felt comfortable being able to speak with them, letting themselves be open to him, asking for his advice. So despite the fact academically he may not have cut it, if you want, he certainly had the intelligence to deal with people where they were, but he also had a great deal of holiness, and that makes the difference.
Oh, yes.
That draws people to him right from the beginning.
I have two neighbors that I can think of immediately that attend Mass there every day.
Yeah, okay.
They absolutely can't say enough about him and what he was and what he's like. They're way up there in years. They're wonderful people. But that's their mission. That's their guiding light. And I want to call your attention to something that's out there. It's a documentary that I wasn't aware of, but it's available right now. It's called Celebrate Solanus, a documentary by Noel Thompson. And it was produced by Rochester-based Foxfire Entertainment. And it's available for $20, $19.99. I happened to find this when I knew we would be talking about, originally we were going to be talking about the homeless situation everywhere, starting with the West Coast and working its way.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, of course, I naturally thought of Blessed Solanus Casey and the Capuchin soup kitchens and my involvement in radio, and so many people are involved with it, and it's such a wonderful, wonderful organization. But maybe a lot of people still don't know the real backstory about Blessed Solanus Casey. These are interviews with people that knew him, and they tell their stories. It's about a 30-minute documentary movie, but it celebrates Solanus, a documentary by Noel Thompson, and I believe you can go to celebratesolanus.com. Celebratesolanus.com. I know I am. It's also available on the Solanus Casey Center website. You can also pick up a copy of it at the Solanus Center gift shop, with proceeds benefiting the ministries there at the Capuchin Soup Kitchen. So I just wanted to mention that.
That's great.
That's just me out of the goodness of our hearts. For those of you that don't have the backstory, maybe all of it on Solanus, Blessed Solanus Casey.
And there's a great deal of literature that you could pick up at the center.
And be advised that next week will be a very special week down in downtown Detroit, and of course at Masses on July 30th, the feast day of Blessed Solanus Casey. So with that said, you have a good time at your party tonight.
We'll do the best we
Father,
can.
You're going to be the one, telling all the jokes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Of course.
You're going to tell people about the podcast.
I would if I could remember.
Will you do me a favor?
By all means.
You always bite your tongue. You won't share the good word about the podcast.
I'll mention
Will
it.
you please, I'm going to give you a stack of cards. Will you please hand them out to the guys? It'll do wonders for the podcast.
I'm sure.
I'll get them out in the kitchen, folks. I'll take care of it from here. I'm the merchandising expert. I'm Ken Calvert, alongside the good Father.
I look forward to being with you soon.
Nicely done.
This is Father Joe Grimaldi, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Father Joe Podcast.
If you'd like, you can email us. It's frjoepodcast@gmail.com. That's frjoepodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook. Simply search Father Joe Grimaldi. And thanks for listening, everyone.